Please be forgiving. All right, we're going to be starting the recording here. And it's that time of year. We're getting rain and it's getting cold over here, believe it or not, in California. And we've been in a drought, so it's been kind of crazy that we actually have rain. But I think with all that cold and weather change, it's gotten to some people, including myself. So I know the weather is beautiful. It's just wonderful. We haven't had rain in so long, so I've got all the windows open and it's fun. It just makes you want to take a nap. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that, Simon. That's rad. 60% of the time. Wow. I've actually never been to Wales. Okay, so let's see here. Let's get started. Let me pull up our slides for today. Does everyone have InDesign launched, ready to go? Because today I'm going to be, I'll explain the way I'm going to structure the class so that you guys know what to expect. Today we're going to kind of breeze through the class expectations because I want to spend the time going over the assignments. I know this is a beginner's course, but you probably are already familiar with the structure of the online form or online layout of the class, so I won't spend too much time rehashing that. All right, so can everyone see the slides okay? Give me a thumbs up, smiley face, whatever works. If this is coming in, I'm coming in loud and clear. Awesome. Simon's got 3 monitors. Wow, that's great. You know what? I need to get an extra one because I have so many windows up when I do these courses, when I teach the class. Okay, so, welcome everyone. First off, a quick introduction, and I'd love to hear from you guys. I don't like to do a ton of talking in this class because I know it's mostly design, so you'll see a lot of me doing more hands-on. What I'll be doing, just to kind of explain the structure of the course. I know a lot of you said you're more visual learners. I'm a visual learner, so I love going over principles and kind of going over just the ground rules of the software, but then trying to implement what we've learned in class and do some hands-on tutorials. We're going to substitute the tutorials today for the assignments since the 100 level courses are only 1 live lecture. I don't have the opportunity to do a ton of different tutorials, but what I'm going to do is try to focus more on the assignments that are due so that you know what to expect. Now, granted, my disclaimer, I'm going to try to get through as much of the assignment as possible. If, however, time creeps up and we don't have enough time to go over everything, this is not going to be all inclusive. You're welcome to come to the open lab. So Mondays are live lecture days, and hopefully by next week, I won't sound like I'm so stuffed up, but Mondays are our live lecture days, so I welcome everyone to come, welcome everyone from home who are watching these. Now I understand life happens, you're working, you've got family, it's life. You're going to be busy, and I know this is not your only class you're taking, so things are going to come up, you're going to be busy, so you're not going to be required to attend the live lectures. However, you will be recorded to, hey Kat, thanks for coming. Appreciate you coming here. It's good to have you. We're just going over the class information and just kind of a quick course description. I'm not going to go over this too much, but I was going to tell you that Mondays are our live lecture days. So we're going to try to get through as much information as possible, kind of do all the assignment tutorials if we can get to them. If I don't go over something that you need to know or you still have questions about or we didn't completely go through it thoroughly enough, you're welcome to come to the lab. Our open lab will be on Tuesdays, same bat time, same bat channel, 6:30 to 8:30 Pacific Standard Time. If you're on Central Time, you're 2 hours ahead. I believe if you're in Eastern Time, you're 3 hours ahead. So I think that's how it works. So this is what we're going to do. You can come to the open lab, ask any questions, bring your assignments. If you want me to look at them, give you some feedback, you're welcome to do that. The way that I structure my course lectures is if I go over something, a basic tutorial on how to do the assignment or whatever it is, I'm going to have you screen share. So hopefully everyone gets used to screen sharing. If you feel comfortable enough, I'll ask for volunteers to show me what we've just gone over and have them do a little demonstration, or maybe just show me the final product so that I can make sure everyone's on the same page. How many of you here are familiar with InDesign? You've worked with it before, you feel comfortable with it before, or maybe give me a scale of 1 to 10 on where you are with familiarity. 10 being expert in InDesign, 1 being complete novice. Okay, so we've got a 3. It's kind of funny. We get a wide range, so don't know it at all. Okay, perfect. So this helps me gauge how quickly I go over something or how in depth I'll go over something. If I have some people who are too familiar with it, or when I think a couple mods ago I taught, most everyone had already was really familiar with InDesign, so we didn't need to go over the basics, but this is a basics course. So if you are in the 5 range, 4 or 5, the first lecture or 2 may be a little, I don't want to say boring. Hopefully you learn something new, but it will be strictly for beginners. So hang in there with me. We're gonna all learn this together. Okay, perfect. So everyone's about the same level. So this is good to, I see some 1s, 3s, 2s, I see a 4. You 4s out, if 4 or 5, anyone who's above that, please feel free to chime in if you have any tips to share with the class. I want this to be class participation. I want you guys to feel comfortable sharing. If you want to show me something that is class related, feel free to do that if it's related to the assignment, or if you want to show a little demonstration, you're more than welcome to do that. I welcome you guys sharing this. It makes it less boring for you, and it lets me know that you guys are getting the hang of what I'm going over. So, all right, so let's, a brief introduction about me. I've been doing this for the last 10 years, graphic design. Absolutely love it. I'll spare you the whole long story, but basically I graduated, and well, I interned for an ad agency who had done design work for several different kinds of clients in the entertainment industry, retail, fashion industry. I've done design for bowling alleys, restaurants. I mean, I've kind of had my hand in the design in lots of different industries. So I feel that, 1, I had a blast doing it, and 2, I feel like I can offer you guys something out there. You know, I still got my foot in it. I'm freelance. I own my own company. I do that on the side, and then I also teach it because I love it so much, and I want to be able to share with you my passion for it, and hopefully give you some tips and tricks. I was kind of self-taught in the beginning stages, and so I know what to look for, or what to teach for you guys beginners, hopefully save you some time when you're learning, some shortcuts, some things to make your time or your efficiency be a little quicker, and time-saving tips. Hopefully that is what this class offers you. So without further ado, let me know where you guys are all from, so I know. You can give me the time zone or the state. Where are you guys from? You know, I'm from California, Sacramento, NorCal. Okay, we got Wyoming, Kentucky, Wales, Ohio, LA. Awesome. Okay, Wales and Utah. Thanks for clarifying. I was like, I didn't know we had someone out of the country. That's pretty cool. All right. No, Utah's great. I actually moved from there, lived in American Fork. I don't know if you know where that is, but I lived there for 6 or 7 years. So moved stateside to California. Cool. Very awesome. Well, welcome everyone. Okay, so let's jump into this class. I did say in my email I have a little reward for you guys for showing up, and those of you who are actually watching the recording, so we'll get to that in just a little minute. But thank you for coming. Course syllabus. Here's some information you guys need to know. I'm just going to breeze through this because you know where to find it. It's on your course homepage. Any questions you have about deadlines, class policies, anything, if you're a special case scenario, email me and we'll go over, we'll talk about it. But other than that, we're sticking to the course syllabus. Deadlines are the same. There's really no exceptions to this. But if you ever need to get a hold of me, email is the best way. You can call me. I may or may not pick up unless I'm in my office. So that's kind of hit and miss at best unless you email me and we set up a time to chat. But email is preferred. This phone number is not correct. Just use the one that's on the syllabus. But again, email is best. So I usually check that constantly so I can get back to you quicker. Office hours, by appointment, if you need to meet. I don't really have office hours outside of class because I have the 2-hour open lab session Tuesdays. Tuesdays will not be a live lecture per se. I'm not going to be giving a lecture or talking or doing demos or anything like that. It's just, I don't know if you guys have had open labs before, but it's just come and go as you please. It's more of like a tutoring session. If you want some one-on-one time with me, I'm happy to answer questions or go over anything that we talked about in class. Anything class related, I'm here to help. So typically that's usually the day after the live lectures, and I try to get these in early in the week so that you have all week to work on the assignments for the deadline on Saturday. All right. Any questions here on how to reach me? And going back off of what Simon said, he says, yeah, I always uses the student center before submitting to have a second pair of eyes. I really commend you on that because I encourage students to do that. I don't think enough of us take advantage of the tutoring center or the student success center enough, because if you can get someone else to look at it and give you some feedback, they usually email me and tell me about your session, so I know that if you've gone or not. And it's actually really, really helpful. Most of my A students are the ones that go. I think there's a stigma that if you're struggling, you go to the Success Center, but it's a Success Center. It's to help you guys succeed. So yeah, it's free, no cost, absolutely. It's available to you at your disposal. If you can't get a hold of me, or if it's on a different day, they're open, I guess, all week long. So, and I'll be posting some more information on our class tutor, who to talk to, who to get in contact with if you do need some one-on-one tutoring. I haven't heard back from our tutor, so I don't know who it is yet, but look for an announcement in our Corso page or an email, and I'll have that information sent out. Okay. All right, let's move on. Yeah, sometimes they might confuse you, more or less. Hopefully they're there just to give you some feedback. And if you don't feel completely confident, Charles said that sometimes he gets confused. If you don't feel completely confident in their feedback, which is kind of a rare case, most of the time they know the class well and they know the assignment and what's expected. Sometimes it can be opinion based, so that makes it confusing because it's more of preference, personal preference, and then but hopefully they're just looking at the structure and the formatting instead of giving you personal preferences or any critiques that way. Okay, yeah, and then Simon said there's 6 tutors in the Success Center, so if the tutor's not available, if I'm not available, please don't use that as an excuse, so I couldn't get a hold of our class tutor. There are tons of tutors who are available all week long, so you don't need to just talk to our class tutor. Our class tutor is just here to help answer questions for the class specifically, but those questions can be answered with any tutor because they know the class structure. Okay, so we're going to move on. Everything you need to know is our course on our course homepage. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. Here's the tutoring center. Here's a link for you guys. You should be able to find it on our homepage as well. I'm just going to try to get through this so that we can get to the fun part, which is the actual design. I got our live lecture information here. I sent out a welcome email, so all this should be in there. Please forgive me for the mishap on the time zone confusion. It's Pacific Standard Time, the lectures. That's the zone I'm in. So if you're in, again, if you're in Central Time, it's 2 hours ahead. If you're in Eastern Time, I believe it's 3 hours ahead. So just plan accordingly. All right, so you want to know how to get a good grade. Well, I'm going to give you some tips. First of all, the daily checkpoints. You are supposed to do one each day, okay? If you do more than 4 in a week, the rest are extra credit. So what is that, 2 or 3 more? So you get about 10 points of extra credit, 10 or 15 points, I believe, of extra credit. So if you can get 4 or more, the rest are extra credit. So it helps to definitely do them, absolutely. So I really encourage you not to forget those. That's some easy points right there. Make sure you read the announcements. I don't always email everyone whenever there's a change or an update. Please check the announcements. That's how I communicate to the class. So and it's a way for me to allow my students to be active in the class. So if I emailed you everything, there wouldn't be a reason to log into class, right? So I try to just post things in the announcements, make sure you're reading them. I'll be posting tips, links, things to help you, resources to help you throughout the week. Okay, and Simon's telling us his trick. He once had 935 points, and the last daily checkpoint that he did got him 5 more points, so it got him an A grade because he actually did it. So I guess he was short just 5 points, and by doing them, it can definitely help boost your grade. So though I don't offer extra credit, it is easy to get a few extra points throughout the month, and it's way worth it. Don't be discouraged. This is a beginner's course, so right off the bat, the assignments I'm going to try to give you as much feedback as possible. Please don't take it as any personal attacks on your work. I know you guys work very hard to turn in these assignments, and I'm going to work very hard to give you as much feedback as possible to help you progress, help you improve, and make the design really pop. So I just wanted to put that out there. Discussion, please stay active. You are required to participate more than 2 days a week, or at least 2 days a week. You have to reply to a couple of peers' posts, I think 2 posts, and make sure you're just staying active in there, okay? Grading rubrics should be up now. The only one that's not up is for the discussion, but I'll post that this evening. So let me know if you have questions. Late assignments. Okay, I do accept week 1, week 2, week 3 late assignments. Week 4 final project assignments are never accepted late. So if you don't do them, you just get an automatic 0. You can turn in a late assignment up to a week late with just a 20% deduction in the grade. Believe me, that is way better than getting a 0 on the assignment. So please get those in. If you are going to turn in an assignment late, please let me know. Just stay in contact with me. I can't, it's college policy, so I'm not able to like alter the way the class is structured or the policies themselves. So I can't extend beyond a week or anything like that, but I can try to help you. If you have any questions, we can work together. No late work is accepted after a week late, and there is no late discussion participation accepted. So if you miss week 1's discussion, but then week 2 you try to turn it in as late work, and I say that with air quotes because the reason why is because the discussions are the way that I take participation or take attendance in class. So if you're not participating or you're not if you haven't attended that week, there's no way to really make that up. So it's not fair to the other students who are staying active in class and who are attending. So again, there's no discussion late work allowed. So please make sure you get those posts in. Wednesday, you get graded if you don't post by Wednesday. So make sure you guys are staying active. And no late daily checkpoints. So those are done each day. There's no way to make those up either. So just wanted to make you guys aware of that. Usually in the beginner courses, students aren't really familiar with the structure, but that's what you can expect. All right, check announcements daily, we went over that. Are there any questions at this point? Any questions on how it's gonna be structured? Any policy questions? Okay. Instructor Woodland is great. Thank you for asking, Kay. I appreciate that. How would I like to be addressed? Instructor Woodland is just fine. That is perfect. Thank you for that question. It's very, very respectful. I appreciate that. Let's talk about daily checkpoints. Here's your reward, okay? We're sticking with me. Here are the first 4 daily checkpoints that you could expect through the week. Let's go over these real quick. You can reset your workspace by going to Window, Workspace, and Reset. There is a link, a YouTube link that I really encourage you to watch. By no means are these answers to the daily checkpoints supposed to prevent you from reading, but most of the daily checkpoints have to do with Pell Grants and loans and things like that. I don't really think that helps you in the class. So my gift to you is to help you get as many of these daily checkpoints correct as possible. So if you want to take a screenshot of this or not, whatever you want to do. But these are probably the first 4 that you're going to expect. Now, they're not all of them. You do have to read and keep up with some of them. But one of them goes over how long can I receive the Pell Grant for if I qualify? And the answer is up to the equivalent of 12 semesters. And you never have to pay back a Pell Grant, okay? That's government assistance that can help you with your education. And I had to rely on a Pell Grant when I was in college for a few semesters, and so you never do have to pay that back. Now, you do have to pay back loans, but there's more information about this if you do have questions, but you could read that on your daily checkpoint. And then the last one asks what the BR button takes you to. That's the bridge, okay? And we don't really need to know that in class, not in this class anyway, so but there's the answer there just in case. And you've probably seen the icon when you click on it. It's in the applications folder if you're looking for it. I think it just kind of bridges the gap between all the different folders. Yeah, bridge there. Simon, why don't you tell us what bridge is? Have you used it? I'm putting you on the spot. All right, so Okay, so Simon explains that it's a program that allows you to keep everything tidy and in order, can open programs from it. So it's kind of like keeping your folders organized, I'd assume. I've actually never used it, so I've never really had the need to use it. I use other ways of keeping my stuff organized, but thank you, Simon. Appreciate that. So if you ever need to know more, there's more to read up on, obviously, in your daily checkpoint. Your textbook will go over all of that. And then I guess if you're Photoshop, if you work in Photoshop, Simon says it also allows you to fix photos before you get into Photoshop. So, okay, your raw photos. All right, awesome. Well, that's good to know. See, even I learned something. Thank you, Simon. I appreciate that. Okay, so does everyone do they need this up anymore? I'm going to move on. So this is my thank you to you for coming. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide. Assignment 1, let's talk about this because we're getting into our hour and I want to be able to go over this. Okay, so the thing with this class, you'll notice the first week's assignments is going to be a lot of mimicking, okay? You're going to be given a JPEG, which looks just like this, picture of the Smoothie catalog page. And the idea here is you're going to recreate it, okay? Photos have to be identical. Text has to be identical. Text formatting has to be identical. So if something's bolded, if something has a red border, you'll need to include that. And so the idea here is to try to practice mimicking or recreating something that's already been laid out correctly. So I love this assignment because when you're first starting out with InDesign, trying to create your own thing is a little daunting. But if you can try to recreate something, you actually have something that you can go off of. It's kind of checks and balances. Like, is my red line bolded enough? Or is this a sans serif font versus a serif font? And this will help you start having an eye for design. So the idea here is to use the JPEG provided. You're going to try to copy this, okay? There are 3 Smoothie photos that are already given to you. Now, I know some of you may already have your own stock photo accounts or things like that, and that's okay. But for these assignments, when you have to recreate it identically, you do have to use the photos provided. I'm sure you could find better photos out there. I'm sure there are better photos out there, but for now, you do have to use, if it does state use these photos specifically, we obviously have to do that. But that's easy points on your assignment. All right, and then the dimensions, it gives you all the information. The grading rubric has been posted. It's right underneath the assignment itself. That's where you can find it. If you can't see it for some reason, let me know. All right, and the discussion, please post your first post by Wednesday, okay, to get the full maximum points. And okay, so what's new this mod with this class is the assessment 1, all right? You're given 2 ad designs that you have to recreate. It gives you the dimensions. We'll go over all this in InDesign. Does everyone have their InDesign pulled up? Because I think here we're going to be jumping into InDesign here real quick. Yes, okay. If you don't already have it up, everyone, please pull it up to save you some time. Okay, you're not sure how to have both up. Well, for now, just keep your Zoom up. What I'll do, I know some if you don't have an extra monitor, what I recommend is you listen to the tutorial, watch the tutorial, and I'll give you, say, 3 to 5 minutes to try to duplicate what we've done, okay? So T, you're asking, you don't know how to get InDesign on a Windows? Do you have the software? Is the software on your computer? That you know of? You don't think so? Okay. If you don't have the software, I don't know what, how to look in a search through a PC because I have a Mac. If there's a search button or search window that you can pull up and type in InDesign to see if it's already loaded, kind of do a search on your computer for it. If you don't already have it, email me and I'll send you a link so you can go download it, okay? All right, make sure to email me or you don't get it, and because I have to have the AD approve it. So email me and I'll let you know, but do a search real quick if you don't have it up. Otherwise, you can just watch the tutorial. Who here has InDesign on their computer up and ready to go? I know Simon does. Sanja, Charles. Okay, so half and half. All right, so for those of you who don't have it, just watch it, watch the tutorial, and then email me if you don't have the link to download. I'll send that to you. Okay, so this is all on the course homepage. We're going to move on. Let's talk about what InDesign is real quick, okay? This course really is required for students pursuing a graphic design degree, but it's also an excellent choice for students in all degree programs who really want to explore the creative side and try to get familiar with InDesign. Oh, thank you, Sonia. I apologize. I'm just reading Sonia's comment. So it's Sonia. Thank you for letting me know. And you only have one monitor. So if you only have one monitor, I know not all of us have multiple monitors. What I'll do is I will do the demonstration and then I'll give you 3 to 5 minutes to try to duplicate what I've done, okay? And then we'll do a screen share and you could show me your final product. So I'll give you some time to do what I have already gone over. Fair enough? Okay, and then Simon is saying on a PC you can click Alt-Tab to move from window to window. So that might help you toggle through if you've got your Zoom up and your InDesign up. We'll get it. We'll get it. Any other questions? Okay, so what I want to go over with you real quick is InDesign. So I'm just going to talk to you. Go ahead and get InDesign pulled up. Well, maybe I should pull up InDesign so you can actually see it. That might be better. We're going to go over how to start a new document in InDesign because this is starting from the basics. So we'll do starting a new document, navigating around InDesign. I'll show you how to insert text, okay? How to insert images and how to insert and delete pages, and then how to save your work because that is crucial. So we'll go ahead and go into the design portion of class. Let me pull up my InDesign. Okay, so if you have InDesign, Victoria, you won't be able to have both screens up, I believe. I don't know. People with one monitor say it's kind of hard. Simon's saying on a PC, press Windows key and then click on it in the pop-up menu. Thank you, Simon. I'm glad you know your way around PCs. I don't know why they give students PCs when the majority of the software is on Macs, but okay. It works better on PC? Well, maybe I need to get myself a PC then. I've only had a Mac my whole design career. You know, it's funny you mentioned that, Simon, because my software is pretty slow. So maybe I should, you know what? I'm going to look into it. It's gorgeous on his HT monitor. Now you're getting me jealous. Yeah, they did say that, Kate. They did say they were switching LG over to PC. So unfortunately for the instructors who are on Macs, we don't know the shortcuts and the ins and outs of how to toggle back and forth, but we'll get it. Okay, sorry. So my InDesign is taking forever. I'm not sure why I think it might have crashed. Anyways, well, we'll go over the next slide while it's loading. Okay, so if you want to know how to toggle through your preview modes, we'll go over this too. Just make sure that your viewing guides, you can click on preview or your display and it will help you go. There are different preview modes that you'll want to see. Some have guides and grids, hidden characters that show up. Others will take away those. So it just depends on the view that you want, and I'll show you how to go back and forth. Okay, InDesign is up now. So we'll go back to this slide. All right, so what I want to go over is how to start a new document. So let me pull my InDesign up. And I'll share screen for you guys. All right, new share, we've got InDesign. Okay, can everyone see my InDesign? Good, okay. All right, so let's learn how to start a new document, because before we can design, we need to have a document all set up, all right? At the top of your screen, File, and there's a drop-down menu. You wanna click on New. Good question, Simon. Let's see, let's go to, you might be able to do that in Settings or Preferences. Simon's wanting to know how to change inches, or change the start document screen from inches to points. I believe you can do that in your preferences. Let's see, I actually haven't done this. Units and increments, so I believe you can change it from picas to inches or from points, whatever kind of valuation you want to give it. Try that and see if it works. Your ruler units, yeah, no problem. Okay, so if you go to File, click on New. That's a good question, Simon. Thanks for asking. And then click on Document, or I believe it's Command N. If you here's a key that you'll probably want to know. It will be different on PC than Mac, but if you hover over anything, any kind of command on the right side of it, you'll see the keyboard shortcut. So for me, it's Command N. On PC, it might be Command N as well, or Control. Okay, yeah, so on a PC, it's Control. If I say Command, it's Control. But it should say what it is on the right side of it. So for me, it says New Document is Command N or Control N, and so that would be a keyboard shortcut. So if you ever want to know how to access a command without having to go to the drop-down menu, to save you some time, if you start memorizing the keyboard shortcuts, it saves you a ton of time when you're designing. Just wanted to throw that out there. Same with your toolbar. Here's your toolbar right here. I'll just bring this out. And now our toolbars might look a little different, but for the most part, I've got the basic tools, okay? If I hover over any one of these tools, let's see if it'll do it. If you hover over any one of these tools, it will actually give you the keyboard shortcuts. So you can do it that way. There's different layouts or formats if you want to arrange it differently. All right. And Simon's asking, when we do work and set up the document, do you prefer print or web? Always print, unless you are doing a project specifically for the internet, okay? I know this is kind of hard to wrap. Well, it might not be too hard to remember, but if you're doing a catalog or an ad, that's obviously going to be printed unless it specifies. The difference between print and web, and you'll get into this in other classes more in depth, but it's the color library that you're using, CMYK versus RGB. We won't get into that too much, but there's different color libraries that you're going to be accessing. So it is important to specify. And in my class, we're going to be doing mostly, if not all, print, unless it specifies. Thank you, Simon, for asking. It's a great question. So we're going to click on New Document. It's going to pull up this New Document dialog box, okay? You're going to deselect Facing Pages. We don't want that checkbox. What that checkbox does is it puts pages side by side. And in this case, we don't need that. We're just doing one page. So we want to deselect it. If we were doing a magazine layout or layout for a book or anything that has multiple pages, maybe a pamphlet design, then yes, we would probably want to click Facing Pages because that would bring the pages side by side. But in this case, we don't need that. Okay, number of pages, we only need one. If you were doing multiple, you could specify the number, but in this case, it's just one. And intent is print, always. Sometimes that's a default on mine, so you can keep that unless you do work for both print and web. You could set your orientation, landscape, or portrait, however you want. In this case, it's portrait. And then your width. If for some reason you don't have your page size set to inches or to any, if it's set to picas or if it's something different, you can always enter in the value. So in this case, let me go double check. Does anyone know dimensions for the catalog page off the top of their head? If not, I'll pull it up. Google real quick what it is. 8.5 by 11. Okay. So 8.5 by 11, that's what I thought. You'll type in 8.5. And in this case, I want inches, tab over, and it will convert it into the unit or increment that you're using. So in this case, mine are picas, 11 inches, and hit tab. So make sure you type in the unit inches unless it's already defaulted to that. And then it will mathematically it'll do the math for you. We don't need any columns, margins, we don't need any of that. If you click on bleed and slug, there's this extra drop-down menu here. What this does is you can add a bleed to it. Now, does anyone know what a bleed is in the design world? Yeah, it's used for printing, absolutely. Prints off the page, right, Kate, thank you, Simon, excellent. Those are all correct. What a bleed is it is this extra little strip or border around your design that you can either extend your background around or your border around. I'll show you what this does just really quick so it's easier to see it. Okay, so by doing that, you see this red border around my page? Now, if I were to print, I'm doing a design, and I've got this really cool blue background. Well, this background, if I printed, will have a white border around it. Even if I extended it to the edge of the page, it will have a white border around it when the printer gets it. And to avoid that, I want to extend the background so it bleeds over the page, hence the word bleed. By making it bleed over the page, you're guaranteed to have a no white border around it. Sometimes the white border can be inconsistent. It's not always even when they crop, when they're cutting, or during the print job. So to ensure that your border bleeds correctly or gets printed correctly, you do need to set up a bleed. In this case, I don't think your assignment specifies that, so you don't need to worry about that, but that's just something good to know if you were ever needed it for a print job. You would almost always have a bleed if you had a background you wanted to extend on the file. Okay, Sonia, you didn't miss much. I was just going over what a bleed is, but we don't need that for this assignment. So we're going to pick up. We just did a new document, so everyone get a new document. That's okay. So Victoria can't get into InDesign when the live lecture is going. Are you able to close, like minimize Zoom? Maybe try minimizing Zoom and pulling up InDesign. If that works, what I'll do is I'll do a quick tutorial like how to set up a new document, and then I'll give you 3 minutes to try to practice it. Any of you with PCs, are you guys able to minimize Zoom and work in InDesign, or do you only have to have Zoom up or InDesign up? Are you not able to toggle? You can have different screens, Simon. Okay, on one monitor? You should be able to, I thought. Okay, so Kay is saying if you go to the top of the meeting, you can leave the full screen. So you don't have to do a full screen view of what I'm going over. You can minimize it and you can go back and forth. Thank you, Kay. That's very helpful. So at the top of the meeting, you can leave the screen. Does everyone see that? Kay, do you want to do a screen share and show everyone where to click? It's under your options. Okay, I'll stop my share. Why don't you go ahead and show that real quick? Okay, Victoria got it. Okay. Perfect. Yay. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to stop here. I'm going to make sure everyone has their new document created because it was kind of a whirlwind of trying to troubleshoot. So why don't you guys, I'll give you about 2 minutes. That should be enough to create a new document that's 8.5 by 11 inches. And it should look like this. Don't worry about the bleed. You don't need that right now. So I'll give you a few minutes. So again, just a recap, go to File at the top of your drop-down menu, click on New, Document. Make sure your width and height are set to 8.5 inches. You're gonna actually have to type that. 8.5 inches by 11 inches. Orientation is portrait. Deselect facing pages. We don't want facing pages. You don't need a bleed in this case. And then hit OK. All right, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes. That should be enough to get a new document set up. And then I want you to show me. I want everyone to screen share if you can, or if you don't mind volunteering, to show me that you've got it up, okay? And then we'll move on to the next phase of the assignment. Okay, Sonia's got it. Sonia, do you mind screen sharing? I'll stop the share. Go ahead and click screen share or share screen. And then click on InDesign. Find your InDesign file. So if you click on share screen. Okay, Kat, thank you for coming. Just catch the last bit of the recording, okay? Great having you. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so I see an 8.5 by 11. Excellent, great job. All right. Anyone else want to show me? Simon, T, K, do you guys have? Thank you, Sonia, that was excellent. Do you all have your document set up? Okay, Simon, do you want to share your screen so I can take a look? Awesome, excellent job. Okay, great, thank you. Good job. All right, anyone else want to share or should we move on? Kay, do you need some help? It's glitchy, okay, that's all right, we'll let it catch up. All right, we'll move on. If you need me to slow down at all, just let me know, okay? All right, so next we need to actually create our smoothie page. All right, so what we need, first thing is first, we need a background color. What you're gonna do is grab your rectangle tool. Now the neat thing with your rectangle tool is if you click it and hold it down, there's hidden tools within it, okay, different shapes. You're gonna grab your rectangle tool, or the shortcut is M on your keyboard. Kay, do you wanna share it? Kay, would you like to share your screen, or do you wanna move on? So just click share screen. There you go. Excellent, beautiful. That's perfect. Great job. Okay, great question. So Victoria, I'm gonna go in order of the questions. So thank you, Victoria and Simon. Victoria's first question is, how do you change the width and the height on the document? So the way that we do that is you go to File, New Document, and you click on, you highlight the width, and you type in 8.5 inches, like that. Do you see that, Victoria? And you hit Tab. And Tab will bring you to the height, which is 11 inches. So you do need to specify inches. You do need to type inches. You physically have to type that unless it's defaulted to inches. But 8.5 inches, Tab, 11 inches. And it may go ahead and, if you have it set to picas or something, it will go ahead and mathematically change it. but you should be able, once you manually enter inches, it will take care of the rest. Does that help? Hopefully that helps you. Let me know if you get stuck and I can help go over that again. Okay, so Simon's question is, when he puts the image in, it pixelates, and when he resizes it to the size the image should be. Okay, so that's a great question. We'll go ahead and we'll skip ahead a little bit. When you place an image, it will look really pixelated, right? It's a very simple fix. If you right-click it, go all the way down to Display Performance, click on High Quality Display. And it should get rid of the pixelation. So it will display how it will print. Now, once you've done that and it's still pixelated, that means that it's a low-res image and you probably want to get a better, higher-res image. But in this case, you're kind of stuck with what they've given you. So yeah, it's really low-res, so that's okay. All I care about is that the photo was placed and cropped correctly. Relatively the same size, and things like that. All right, so let me show you how we can get started on our file. So probably the easiest way is to download the Smoothie final product and pull it into your InDesign. Now the way to do that is if you go to File. So the way to go ahead and everyone download it to your computer. Click on the Smoothie, the final product, Smoothie Week 1. Does everyone see that? Yeah, Simon. Okay, so Simon's saying, so we're skipping ahead a little bit. I'll get to your question, Simon. That's a great question. When Simon places the picture, it looks different than the image of the sample, meaning they've cropped it a little bit, and I'll show you how to get that in just a minute. That's okay, Victoria. If it doesn't do inches, it will convert it to picas. It will convert it as long as you've typed in the manual. So why don't you, that's a good thing. Why don't you share your screen, Victoria? I'll stop the share. Click on share screen, and I'll step you through it. You see that? Share screen right there? You can click on it and pull up your InDesign file. Is it working for you? Simon, I'll show you in just a minute. Hang on one second. Victoria, are you able to share your screen? It's that middle icon. Keep the questions coming, Simon. I never want you to think I'm forgetting you. Sometimes it looks like you've already designed yours or getting close to it. So, okay, so, oh, I see. That's weird. Where's your Zoom homepage? Do you have my share screen app? That's actually just the Zoom website. Are you on mine? That's weird. Okay, well, I'll show you real quick. Hopefully, if you go to your new document dialog box. Okay, so pay attention, Victoria, right here. Under the page size, right now mine says picas. It's this 51P0. Okay, that means nothing to us right now. But when I need to make sure it's 8.5 by 11 inches. Now you can either change the units and increments by going into Design Preferences, but for now, just type in 8.5 inches and hit Tab. Now it might already, what it's going to do is mathematically change it to whatever picas are. Okay. So if I wanted to do 4.5 inches, I just type in 4.5 and that value now changes. You see that? So just make sure that it's 8.5 inches, or you could do 51 pica 0. That's fine, or 66 pica 0. That's 51 picas or 66 picas. That's whatever value you see here. You can type in and it should work. Does that help, Victoria? If you're still having trouble with it after class, I can go over it with you. For sake of time, I am going to move on just to get to the other questions, but please let me know if it's still giving you trouble. Okay, so does everyone have this page downloaded, the final page? I guess it's week 1 Smoothie. Thumbs up or a smiley face should do. Everyone has this downloaded in place. Okay, so why don't you guys go to the course homepage under your assignment 1. Make sure to download this. This is actually going to help you quite a bit. You're working on it? Okay, I'll keep moving on. Once you have it placed, again, you go to File, Place, and then you'll find it wherever you saved it, wherever it downloaded to, if it goes to your download folder or you saved it somewhere, and then you just select it and hit Open. Okay? And it should automatically place, or you can go to the folder, drag it, and drop it in InDesign. That should work too. Actually, I don't think you can drag and drop on a PC, so never mind. You're going to actually have to go place it. So go to File, Place, and then find the file. You can? Okay, well that's good to know. I didn't know. PC has come a long way, I'll tell you that, from when I used it. I was in the dinosaur age when PC was introduced. So it's I'm proud of PC. They have come quite far. Okay, perfect. So Simon's saying he has Bridge open, so you can drag it from that into InDesign. So that should help you. When you do, this is what it will look like. Okay, it might look a little pixelated. It might look a little blurry. To fix that, you're going to right-click, Display Performance, High Quality Display, and that should clean it up a little bit. Okay. The thing with InDesign or Illustrator, if you're working in these different programs, is that they're going to have something called layers. And if you think of an onion, there's a million layers to an onion, right? Lots of different layers you got to peel back. Well, each layer has a function. And don't let this overwhelm you. Simply put, each layer you can make changes to without affecting. So in layer 1, if you want to make changes to it, it won't affect layer 2. If you want to make changes in layer 2, it won't affect layer 1. So that's a good way to make changes to an overall document without affecting other elements within it. Hopefully that makes some sense. Got it. Okay. So if you go to Window, I'm going to show you how to access your layers. Go to Window, your drop-down menu, and it's alphabetical, so it makes it really easy to spot. Click on Layers. In my case, the shortcut is F7. Click on Layers, and it should look like this right here. I'm going to expand this so you can all see it. I'll click off of these things so you don't get confused. So here's your layers. And to add a layer, you click on this little dog-eared page here at the bottom right. So click Create New Layer, and you'll see Layer 1, Layer 2. You'll want to click on Layer 1, and you can give it a name. In this case, it can remain Layer 1, but in this case, I'm going to type Smoothie Example. And it gives it it color codes it. So if you're working with hundreds of layers or lots of layers, this will help you keep it organized. Maybe all the text layers are in blue and all the picture layers are in red, however you want to organize it. But if you're OCD like me, this is a really cool feature to have, especially if you're working with multiple layers at a time. We're not going to be working with more than 2 layers right now, but just to keep the confusion at bay. But in this case, I'm going to just keep this layer here. If you need to make any changes to it, just double click it. If you don't want to see it, just click the eye to the left. It will hide it. It's still there, but it's just hiding it from your view. If you click the eyeball and the eyeball is visible, it means you can see it. So make sure that your smoothie, the picture you downloaded from the assignments page, is on your layer 1. That's the idea here. So I'm going to double click here and I want to lock my layer. So make sure lock layer is checked. Okay. So I know I've been moving a little fast and going over quite a few things. Is everyone at this point, or would you like some time to catch up? Good, okay, Kay's good. I'm there, okay, perfect. All right, good. So the important thing here to note is that you want to lock the first layer. By locking it, this is what it does. Now, if you're trying to grab it, it doesn't move. I'm clicking, I'm dragging, I'm using my my direct selection tool, or I'm sorry, my selection tool, the black arrow. I'm trying to click it and move it, and it's not moving because I locked it. And you'll even see that left there, or left icon there. It's got that key there, that lock on it. If you ever want to unlock it, just click on it and it will disappear. So you can toggle back and forth. If you want to lock it, unlock it. If I unlock it, it allows me to move it. So the point here of this exercise is to show you that if you lock the first layer, it won't move. Now you can lay anything over it, and this would help you proportionately make sure that your picture's the same size, your text is the same size, and things are roughly placed correctly. So this is the idea here. What we're going to want to do is unlock the layer though, and you see here I don't have the background extending evenly on all sides. So on my left, or my top left, and my left and my top border extends to the bleed line, but my right and bottom layer do not. I need to extend that. So to proportionately resize an object, whether it's a photo or a text box or whatever it is, background color, you're going to want to hold down, in my case, it's Shift and Alt. And what that does is it proportionately, Shift and, okay, Simon, what is the equivalent to Command? Is it Control? Thank you. Okay, so you'll hold down Shift and Control for those on a PC, Shift and Command if you're on a Mac. Shift and Control, or Shift and Command, proportionately allows you to resize an object by constraining its proportions. Meaning, if I did not hold down Shift and Control and I wanted to resize it, what it's going to do, it's either going to hide the image or it's going to squish it. In Illustrator, it will definitely skew the object. So we want to hold down Shift and Control or Shift and Command to proportionately get that image right where we need it to be. I'll zoom out so you can see it. Okay, so, Simon, we'll get to the font in just a minute. I want to show you here. So once your image is placed, it's proportionate. Click on Lock to lock the layer. What you want to do is go up here to the top of your InDesign, and if you go to Window, wait, let me see where it would be for you guys. You see this icon right here? This is your transparency icon. And what this does is if you adjust the layer, it will mess with the opacity or the transparency of the object that you have selected. So by adjusting this, I can kind of make it really faint enough that I can design over it, because that's the idea. I'm going to design over it so that I can make sure my photos are placed correctly and that my letters are lining up. And that's the idea here. So I'm going to probably do about 25%. You can do whatever's comfortable for you. Okay, any questions at this point? Are we good to move on? Good question, Sonia. Okay, so up here, I don't know if you can see. You see me toggling back and forth. If you don't see that, where you can go is to Object. Let's see. See if it'll pull it up for me, show you what folder. Okay. Hold on, it's freezing. Okay, so your transparency or your opacity is right here. Do you see this sliding? See this little icon here? You me adjusting it. It's cut off. Okay. Oh, really? Bummer. Here, let me see if I can share my screen in a different way. To desktop. Now can you see it? Thank you for telling me. I didn't know it was cutting it off. Can you see me toggling back and forth right here? There it is. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so hopefully this helps you a little bit. So this is the opacity. You need to make sure your layer is selected and unlocked. If it's locked, it won't make any changes to it. So if it's unlocked, you can adjust the opacity. Once you've done that, I think 25% is a good, but if you need more, whatever's comfortable to you. Okay, is everyone at this point? We've got our opacity set. Perfect, no problem. Okay, thank you for letting me know. If anything doesn't show up, please tell me, because sometimes I can't see what you're looking at or what you can't see. So I just assume everyone can see my screen. But that's perfect. I'm glad you can see it now. Okay, lock the layer, adjust the opacity. Let's move on. Let's grab our rectangle tool. It's in your toolbar. R for rectangle, or I'm sorry, M for rectangle on your keyboard. We'll select it. Make sure you're on layer 2 now. Oh, Kay's stuck. Okay, Kay, would you like to share your screen? What are you stuck with? Can't give the opacity. Okay, why don't you go ahead and share your screen. I'll stop share here. Can you share your screen? First thing, if you can't get your opacity to go down, I would just make sure your layer is unlocked and selected. So select the picture. Make sure you see, yep, there you go. Now adjust the opacity. Okay, that's perfect. There you go. Okay, awesome. So just make sure that the object is actually selected first, and that usually helps, but that's a very common question, so I'm glad that you asked that. Awesome. Okay, so that we're all on the same page, we're going to move on. So we've got our rectangle tool. With the rectangle tool, with any shape tool, all you do is click and drag. Click and drag from corner to corner. And in this case, we are going to make sure our opacity is back to 100. Okay. And what I want to do is go to my swatches. Yeah, the little things, Kay, they can get to us. They can, but they're easy fixes. So I'm glad that was something we could take care of for you. And again, we're in a beginner's course, so there's no such thing as a stupid question or a silly question. Please ask. We want to be able to get these addressed early in the class so we don't have any holdbacks when we move on. So we want to find our swatches or our color. So if you go down to your drop-down menu, window, color, select swatches, like this. This is one way to access your color menu. You could go swatch views. There's all different ways to access it. Another way is if you double click on your fill box. Your fill box is this square here on the bottom of your toolbar. And double click it. By double clicking your fill box, you get what's called a color picker. A color picker dialog box. Say that 10 times. Color picker. And what this does is it allows you to adjust color or RGB or CMYK values, okay? This is a really handy dialog box because if you're working for web or for print and you've got a specific CMYK color, like in this case, this specific green up here at the top, it will display what color you have chosen. At the bottom half of the square is going to show you what it currently is now. If you have a specific CMYK value, you're welcome to manually enter it. For this assignment, we have been given one. So for that, let me pull up my, it's 15, 20, 80, 0. Okay, 15, 20, 80, and 0. What's neat about this is once you've entered in one value or the other, it will automatically give you the value for the opposite spectrum. So if you're entering RGB, it will give you the CMYK value. If you're entering CMYK, it gives you the RGB value. Really helpful when you need to know these different swatch values. If you're designing catalogs or magazines or any other ad designs and a client has a very specific blue they want to use, this is a really helpful way to get that exact color. All right, so hit OK once your values are entered in. Is everyone comfortable with this part? Do you all have your color picker up? Thumbs up, smiley face. Everyone has their values entered in. CMYK, we're good to go. Okay, K's good. Sonia? Still catching up, that's fine. Everyone else, good? Okay. So once you're on layer 2 and you've got your background color, you can move it around however you want. All right? What you can do is go back to the smoothie example. So, okay, here's what I do. I will probably kind of lighten the opacity a little bit on your background color. I'm going to do about 50% so that I can see the layer behind it. You won't, before you submit it, you'll change it back to 100, but for now you got to see what you're looking at. So 50% will kind of show you what's behind it so we can design over it. Make sure you're still on layer 2. Okay, is everyone ready to move forward? Any questions? Yes, I sure did, Sonia. So the way that I did that was I went to my rectangle. It's also M on your keyboard for keyboard shortcut. Click on your rectangle tool and click and drag. So click and drag your mouse from corner to corner of the page like this. Okay, and once you've created your rectangle, you're going to want to double click on your fill box, which is at the bottom of your toolbar. And you'll want to give it a specific CMYK value. And the value is right here. It's also on your assignment page. You need to know. So 15, 20, 81, 0. These are the values you'll enter, and then hit OK, and it will give you the color background, the specific color background that you need. Does that help? It looks like it's time to take our 10-minute break, so this might be a good place to catch up. Go ahead and get the images downloaded, the strawberries, the smoothie, and the blender photo. Those 3 images have been provided to you. Please download those, because when we come back, we're going to place them. Actually, yeah, get those downloaded, because what you're going to do is grab the rectangle frame tool, and we're going to draw a rectangle right where same size, same dimension as what you see in the background. I'm going to draw 3 rectangles, and I'm going to make sure they're the same size and width, height. Everything is the same. What's neat about doing the layers is it automatically highlights your box for you with this border, so it's easy to see color. So get your 3 rectangles placed. I use the rectangle frame tool to do it. I'm just clicking and dragging, lining it all up. The key here is to get everything lined up. And I'm a stickler for an eye for detail. So we want to make sure if you need to zoom in, you can do that. A way to zoom in is to hold down, it would be for PC, it would be Control minus or Control plus will zoom in, Control minus will zoom out. Or you can use your handy dandy magnifying glass on your toolbar. You can either click and drag and it will zoom in on a specific section, or you can hold down Alt option and click to zoom out, or let go of the keyboard and just click your mouse to zoom in. And the minus means zoom out, the plus means zoom in. Okay, so go ahead and get your rectangle frame placed, the picture's downloaded, and we'll pick up here in just a minute. So we're gonna go on our 10-minute break. And when we come back, we'll finish this assignment. There we go. Any questions before I leave? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Okay. All right, sounds good. Go get a drink, take a break, stretch your legs. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Okay, is everyone back? We ready to continue? Can you guys hear me okay? I switched headphones, so I want to make sure you guys, okay, perfect, awesome. Okay, so is everyone at this point, does everyone have their rectangle frames placed? Yay, great. Okay, so what we're going to do is place the images. The way you could do that is select your first text frame, and it looks like it's the one with the strawberries. So go to File, Place. Now I know, Simon, you're ahead, so you don't have, you've probably already done this, but I'll address your question about getting the images cropped correctly. So go to Place, and then find wherever you saved it on your computer. In my case, I did downloads. Let's see if I can find it. Strawberries. Hit open. Place your photo. Okay, now some of you might notice, well, it's not as big as my text or my picture frame. Maybe it is too big, or everyone's going to have a different view. In this case, there's different ways that you can, at the top of my screen here, there's different ways you can fill your rectangle frame. If I hover over this part, it says, the top here, does everyone see this? Fill frame proportionately. That's what you want. Okay. If I go to the one to the right, it says fit content proportionately, meaning it will, okay, so what this does is it fill frame, meaning no matter what size my frame is, it will fill it proportionately. If I click on fit content proportionately, it will keep the frame of the picture. The picture is a little narrower than the box that I've drawn. So what it will do is stay true to the constraints of the actual picture. So you'll see extra border. That's not what we want. If you go to the one on the right, sorry. If you go to the one on the right, let me move this dialog stuff out of the way. This one's fit content to frame. So if I do that, it will stretch the picture. That's not what I want. I want to keep it proportionate. So just click on fill frame proportionately, okay? Now you can also give this an opacity to make sure that everything is proportionate. I think this is what Simon was asking. Once you've placed a photo, and as you can see, I'm going to go back to Smoothie 1 here, and I'm going to do a full 100% view on it. Oops, undo. Go to Smoothie 1. I'm going to make my first layer. There we go. Okay, I want to make it show up just a little bit more. It looks exactly right now. Okay, perfect. If for some reason it doesn't look correct and you want to resize it to be a little larger within the text frame, if you click on your picture, once you've placed it in your text frame, I'm sorry, your rectangle frame, if you double click the picture, you'll see now that the photo has the border that extends beyond the actual rectangle frame that you've drawn. See these blue lines? This is showing the true picture, the portion that's getting cut off. When you click on fill content proportionately, it has to expand the picture. So some of it will be hidden. If you want to resize the picture within your rectangle frame, you need to hold down Shift and Control. This will allow me to move my picture around within my actual rectangle frame. I don't think you guys need to do that at this point. You just need to make sure that you click fill frame proportionately. So is everyone good here with the first picture? We're good? Let's do the second one. This one's the smoothie, the really up close and personal shot of the smoothie. So we're gonna go to File, Place, same thing that we did with the first one. Click on the smoothie photo, click fill frame proportionately. And to make sure that you have it placed correctly, just you can make sure the opacity is minimized a little bit just so you can see it, but overall it looks good. So we're just gonna leave that there. And then I wanna go to the next rectangle frame. File, place. Find the other picture, which is the blender. Click open, click on fill frame proportionately, and it will automatically fill it in for you. So everything should be placed correctly. Now, going back to Simon's original question, well, the pictures are a little pixelated. How do we fix that? If you hold down Shift and select all 3 pictures, you can make one change that applies to all of them. It's the same as if you were working with text or any other objects. If you hold down Shift, it allows you to select multiple objects to make one change and apply them to all of them. Again, a real time saver. So hold down Shift, select all 3 boxes. Then if you right click, go down to Display Performance, High Quality Display. And then that allows it to display in a higher resolution so you can see what the true display will look like when you print it. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I'm going to let you catch up. If you have already done it, let me know if you'd be willing to share your screen so I can take a look at it. Is everyone at this point? Okay, who would like to share their screen? No takers? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. I'll just take that as everyone working away. So now we've placed the images, we've worked with the images. Well, Simon, I would love to see what you've done. Go ahead. Oh, Kay started screen sharing. Okay, perfect. So this is Kay's work. Yay, that looks awesome. Very good job, Kay. Very, very good job. No, that's great. No, I'm glad you did. It looks great. Everything's placed correctly. Simon, go ahead and hit screen share or share screen, whatever it is called. Oh, you didn't mean to? Well, it looked great. So good job. Very good job. Everything looks great, like it's placed properly. I see that. Yeah, that's I'll show you how to really, really fine tune it if you want. Yeah, make sure it's Times New Roman if you can. Some of the other letters are wrong too. Make sure, click on your font, Simon. Can you click on it with your type tool? Grab your type tool. There you go. It looks like you're on Minion Pro, so you need to change it to Times New Roman. There you go. See if that, okay, bold italic. Go to your drop-down menu under bold italic. Click on the arrow there. Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's not what we want. I just wanted to see if it gave us another. It looks like some of your letters are a little off, but I can see what you're saying, that E is throwing it off. Another thing too is the way that you place the background picture. If it's not true to proportion, then it might be throwing you off a little bit. So you can kind of mess with that. Like I see that you've placed it, but if there was any tweak in the proportion at all, that maybe that kind of throws it off. I wouldn't worry too much. I know the OCD in me wants to take over, but I'll show you how to fix it if you really wanted to. It would be something that you would do, maybe you could do it in InDesign. If we have time after class, I'll show you. All right, great job, everyone. Anyone else want to share, or should we move on? No, that's okay, Simon. Stick with Times New Roman. That's what we want to do. We don't want to. It's not worth it. Sonia, okay, you want to share? Excellent job. Very good. The only thing okay, yep, I see you. Yep, you placed it correctly. Very good job. It looks like your rectangle frame on the big smoothie is kind of extended over a little bit. If you want to bring that in, see what I'm saying, that little border? Yeah, if you want to bring that in, perfect. Yeah, there you go. Excellent. Looks great. Well done, everyone. I'm impressed. You guys aren't beginners. You guys are more intermediate. Okay, so let's move on. All right, let's try to do the text. And Simon, maybe I can get to your question about that E. Okay, so if we click and drag your, okay, let me back up. I'm assuming you guys already know how to do this. For those of you watching at home, if you don't, there's a type tool here on your toolbar. It's the letter T, or the letter T on your keyboard will bring up your type tool. Now, there's different types of typing. There's type on a path tool, but for this one, we just want the standard type tool. That's your default tool for the type. Click that, make sure it's selected. And this is the icon you'll see on your mouse cursor. Click and drag a nice size text box right where we want it. This will allow you to type your text. You'll see the cursor blinking. That's how you know that you're ready to type. If you don't see your cursor blinking, just double click within the box. Make sure your type tool is selected though. Pay attention to the details, like the S is capitalized, but the rest of the letters are lowercase. You want to make sure you want to make sure that this is italicized and it's bolded. So the instructions were on the serif font, it's Times New Roman. On the sans serif part, it's Arial, I believe. So go up here at the top of your screen. There's two different ways you can access or change the type, okay? First way is over here at the top left of your, there's even more tools at the top of your software. And you can either manually enter it in, Times New Roman, whoops, and then click on your drop-down menu. You want to select the bold italic option, and then directly to the right of it, you'll see the font size, okay? And you can select a font size that might be fitting. If you don't see a size out there that is already defaulted, you can manually enter in any value you want. Or you can highlight, let's see, yeah, highlight it and just enter in what you've, see if we can get close here. See what mine winds up being. Looks like it's about 75, maybe. There we go. Let's see if that works. And then what you can do is grab your selection tool, bring it down. If you select an object, whether it's text or picture, if it's selected, you can use your arrow key on your keyboard to move things left, right, up, or down. It's kind of more accurate than using the mouse sometimes. Just the arrow, yep. Just make sure the object is selected or the text box is selected, and you can use the arrow key. If you hold down Shift while using your arrow key, it moves it 5 spaces. Okay? The font is Times New Roman. So in this case, Simon, if you look, my letters are lining up pretty close. But I can see what you're saying about the E being off a little bit. What I need to do is go, it looks like the font was skewed a little bit. Yeah, I think so too, Simon. Another thing you could do is if it was really bugging you, you could take it into Illustrator. There's a way to actually adjust the text, each letter itself, which is probably a faster way. But again, the person who was designing this probably wasn't necessarily keeping things true to proportion. They probably stretched a few things. Do your best. Just get it as accurate as you can. I'm not going to be a stickler. As long as you use the correct font, that's all that matters to me. As long as it's roughly the same size, things are lining up as far as size is concerned, then that's all that matters. I'm not going to, life's too short to get hung up on one thing. So just do your best in that case. Yeah, it looks like they stretched it a little bit. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, so here's what we can do. If it's really bugging you, I'm okay with it, Simon, but let me show you. If you hold down Control and use your mouse to adjust the height and width, what this does is it stretches the font a little bit. It stretches the proportion of the font. You see what I'm doing? You hold down Control. So that might help a little bit. I don't know if it'll get the result you're looking for, but that's also a way to do it. You even changed kerning. So yeah, it just might be the way it was previously designed. Maybe it wasn't designed in InDesign. It looks like it was designed in Illustrator because they were able to adjust the text a little bit. That's as good as I can get, and that's all that matters. If you get it pretty close, same font, or if it's the right font, right bold, italicized look, same right relative size, then you're okay. All right, so I'm not going to be too picky about that so long as it looks right. Is everyone okay with the text tool, the type tool? We feel comfortable with it? If you click on the type tool again, let's do the next one. Good for you. Here's the thing, when you're drawing your text box, make sure your smart guides are on. It will snap everything into place to make sure everything is lined up. Let me zoom in here for you so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to be pretty picky with this right off the bat because I'm all about quality of design. I don't like people rushing because it sometimes can affect the way that things are laid out. So, okay, good question, Sonia. So let me finish my thought real quick. So with your smart guide on, what it does is when I take an object, it will, do you see that green line? It tells me that my text box are lying flush with each other. Okay, so that's super important because I don't want the text boxes to be off. I don't want it to look like this. I want even amount of space between text box and photo, even amount of space between text box and text box, even amount of space, and I want text boxes to line up with each other. I want everything to be lined up, okay? Yeah, so the way that you make sure your smart guides are on, I think it's in, it's a view drop-down menu, grids and guides. Make sure your smart guides, make sure that's check marked, okay? That's checked. Do you see that? So you go to view, grids and guides, make sure smart guides are on, make sure snap to guides are on. That will snap everything into place when you line up something. And yeah, that should be all you need. So I'm a big stickler on things lining up. You'll see a lot of my comments saying, okay, well, the text boxes don't line up. And I know you think that's silly, but when you are out in the real world and you're doing work for clients, they're going to pay you to be super accurate, okay? And then it's going to be pretty visible when you mess. It's kind of like the domino effect. If one thing is off, it's just this chain reaction. Everything then looks off on your page. So we just really want to make sure we get in the habit of fine-tuning things from the get-go. Okay, so grab your type tool, and just a heads up, it looks like we've still got a lot to cover, so class might go over a little bit in time. If you can't stay, just catch the last part of the recording. That's fine. All right, let's do the last part. Good to go. Now notice how it's all lowercase. Highlight it. Now the way to highlight it is you can click and drag your mouse to highlight, or you can click Control A. Or Command A if you're on a Mac. So Control A if you're on PC, Command A if you're on a Mac. By doing that, I can now adjust my font to Times New Roman. Now this looks like it's regular, So I'm going to go to Times New Roman regular, and I'm going to adjust the size. Here's a trick. If you highlight the font, if the font is highlighted and the size of the font is highlighted, and you hold down Shift and your arrow key, it will adjust the font for you within the text box. Kind of cool. So I'm going to line this up. With the letters. And you probably can't tell on my screen, it's super faint, but I'm going to bring in my text box now so it lines up. I'm going to highlight it, or Control A, Command A. Is that close to mine? Mine is 40, so close enough. Good job. Okay, so yeah, so the font size is about 40, 43, that's fine. Font size on the big one, it looks about 78. Again, it just depends on how you placed the image behind it. But if it's in the ballpark, that's good for me. Okay, so highlight the text. Do we know how to change the color of text? You're going to go to your fill box. There's actually two different ways. You can double click on your fill box, select a custom photo. You can move the color picker around or enter in the value 0, 0, 0, 0, and here's CMYK, and that gives you true white. Or you can highlight the text, go to Window, Color, Swatches, and then click on your white swatch, and that should change it for you. So there's two different ways to do that. But now that I've got my headline, my sub-headline, this is coming along. Now, if you don't want to see, let's see here. If you don't want to see your smart guides on, your view is probably seeing all these text boxes, all these images. If you click on W on your keyboard, it takes all the smart guides, all the text boxes away, so you can kind of see your layout. It's more of a clean view. Okay. Now, what I need to do is add a border to my smoothie photos. All right, and I'm going to get close to this. First of all, does anyone need more time? Are you guys, well, it looks like I need to make mine a little bigger. Let's see what 43 does. Actually, you know what? I think it was Sonia that said it was 43. Yeah, Sonia, you're right. 43 is the size of the font. Perfect. Mine was off a little, so good job. All right, so is everyone good? We have our headline and our sub-headline laid out. Be good to move on? Good, okay. Now what we need to do is create the border on our photo. Here's how you do it. It's really easy. Remember how we select multiple objects? How do we select multiple objects and make one change to them? What do you hold down? Shift, excellent, good job, Sonia. Hold down Shift and select all three photos, because we're gonna make one change to all three of them, so we don't have to do it 3 different times. You're gonna go up to your border, right here, You guys see that? And click on the red swatch. So that now makes it red. And now I need to adjust the thickness of it. And I believe it's 2 points. 2 points, maybe. There we go. I bet it's 2 points. And hit W, and it will show you how close you are to the width of the border. So it's coming along, it's looking good. So I'll give you guys a minute. Give me a thumbs up or I'm good if you got your border set, and I want to see your page. So if I could have a volunteer share, show me that they've got their border up, their headline, their sub-headline, and all 3 photos placed. Does anyone want to share? With your top picture? Why don't you share your screen and I'll help you troubleshoot. Okay, grab your selection tool, the black arrow. Make sure that's selected. Okay, click off the page. Maybe just click in the gray area. There you go. Okay, what was wrong with it? Oh, okay. Click on it again. Click on the actual text frame. Okay. Can you share your desktop so I can see your InDesign? I can't see the same things happening as was happening before. I couldn't see the top of your tools. Let me click out. Yeah, I see what you're doing. Okay, go ahead and share your desktop if you can. Can you share your desktop? There you go. Okay, perfect. Okay, that helps me see. Now select your photo. Okay, click on the eyeball on your layer so I can see. Click on it, it will hide it for me. Click, yeah, click there. Okay, so what you're seeing is what's behind it. So it doesn't look like it's selected. Click it again, the eyeball, and right click on it. I'm sorry, right click on the photo that's selected. Right click and go to, where is it? Give me 1 second. Sorry, this is muscle memory. Hang on. I think you need to bring it to front. So I'm trying to find where the, go ahead and delete it. Yeah, you might have to put it, there's a way to transform, to arrange it to front. Go to Object, Arrange, there you go, Object, Arrange. Right there, it doesn't let you, okay, I don't know what's selected. Can you click off of the page? Click off. Grab your, what's funny is it's grabbing the inside of the photo. Okay, go ahead and delete it. Let's try again. You might have to replace it. Okay, click delete. Okay, click on it again. So it's not, what it's doing is it's not grabbing your, yeah, you still got that there. Why don't you bring it, do me a favor, click on the gray area at the top right, click and drag a big square around, yeah, just like that. All right, so what I want you to do, okay, now click off, grab your rectangle box. Can you select your rectangle frame? Okay, it looks like it's behind that layer, so if you can right click that layer, right click it, arrange, click on arrange, bring send to back. There you go, now click on your rectangle. There you go. Now, what I would just suggest before you place your photo, can you make your rectangle frame the same size as what's behind it? Yeah, just like that. Perfect. Even on the bottom there, I get it as accurate as we can. Perfect. Good job. Okay, now you can place your photo, and that should, I think what was happening is it was behind a layer. When you're messing with different layers, sometimes it's easy. A quick fix is just right click on the object that's selected and go to arrange, bring to front, or send to back, whatever you need to see in the forefront or whatever you need to have disappear. Yeah, absolutely. Good job. That it gets confusing. Okay. Okay, so once you've added your border, does anyone want to share before we move on? I'm going to grab my type tool. I'm going to do the other one. And I'm going to kind of breeze through this part. I'm not going to get through all of this assignment, so hopefully you guys have the general idea of how to get it done. This is where you copy and paste the information. Let me see if I can pull up the assignment. In your assignment, they give you all this text, so you do not have to type it. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it in. The way I paste it is go to Edit, Paste, or Control V. So easy, easy, easy. Now the font we need to use is Arial. So again, we're going to go at the top right, type in Arial. I think it's just standard Arial regular. Okay, except for the headline. So the little headline is bolded. And if you'll notice, we want to make sure that the text box lines up with the other letters. It doesn't have to be exact, but I do want you to try to attempt formatting. So I think it needs to be a little bigger. Let's see what font we've got here. Okay, I've done about 13 font size for this portion. Now, if you'll notice, the item number and the color is Times New Roman. So remember, for design, we need to make sure that we're paying attention to the fonts. They're changing them up on you a little bit. Here's a helpful tip. If you're ever designing a magazine, a book, a flyer, anything with text in it or heavy text, you'll notice this. You see this part right here. Let me get, you'll notice this part here with this little hyphen. Do you see that? That hyphen means that words are getting hyphenated and wrapped back around. To avoid that, to make a neater, more cleaner layout, I suppose, so words don't get cut off, you just go up here to the bottom here by this hyphenate. It's at your top right of your screen, and the top panel, tools panel. Click on a hyphenate. Do you see that? And it will adjust it for you. So now it's more clean, and it will allow you to line everything up. Now it looks like, let's see, where are we at? Looks like font size is 13 for the body. And for the headline, maybe a little larger, maybe 14. Again, we don't need to be super picky about the font as long as you can get it roughly the same size. Okay, so Simon noticed that some of the text is not lining up correctly. Again, this exercise is just to give you a general idea of placement. I wouldn't get hung up about if letters are lining up correctly or if one letter's off, because if you go adjusting, I know it bugs me because I am the most OCD person there probably ever is. In this assignment, I'm more concerned of, can you spot font differences? Can you spot, can you mimic size? If a letter's off, it's probably, again, what Simon said, just due to the original designer kind of skewing things before they created the PDF. But in this case, don't worry. If you start kerning or adjusting the text too much or just doing certain letters, it won't be uniform and consistent. So we just want to maintain consistency as best as possible. So just try to make sure nothing stands out too much if you're going to go and adjust stuff like that. But I appreciate your eye for detail, because that is very important to have. You want everything to line up as much as we can within reason. Okay, so we've got this. I'll let you guys make sure you have it formatted. I'm just going to use the tab button to get it lined up. Again, this does not have to be perfect. I just want to make sure that you've got a general placement, okay? What I'll probably look for is the space between your text and your text box right here. And right here, I want it to be, whoops, let me zoom out so you can see it. I want it to be even, okay? An even amount of space between the text box and the next image, and then image in the text box. So in this case, mine is not even, so I'll need to shift it up a little bit. It may not line up properly, that's okay. What I want to see from you is that even amount of space from the top and the bottom. We're trying to be consistent here, okay? All right, so are there any questions? We're gonna move on. The last part is the same as what we just did up here. For sake of time, I've gotta move on so we can get to those ads. If you have any questions, come to the open session tomorrow. Any questions before I move on? Okay, no questions. We're gonna go ahead and move on. All right, so the next thing we need to do are those newsletter ads, right? I believe, let me pull up sorry, bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna pull up the dimensions. Okay. So we're gonna create a new document. If everyone's with me, go to File, New. The new dimensions are, well, you're welcome to come, Kay. I apologize, I have to rush through everything. Here, let me see my, oh, here we go, cancel. Okay, so the dimensions here, it looks like it's 4.8125 by 2.375, okay. 2.2. So here are the dimensions. So 4.8 by 2.2. The 0.125, I don't know what this is. It's weird. It looks like they have a bleed. So I'll show you what they're wanting. Kind of weird. I might have entered it wrong. File, New, Document. Remember, we're going to go back to the basics. I'm going to kind of rush through this process because we kind of know how to create a new document. Number of pages, we want 2. Deselect facing pages because we don't want them side by side. We want them separate artboards. Now, normally ads should be designed in Illustrator or Photoshop, but in this, or I would say Illustrator, but in this case, InDesign is friendly when we're only doing one page ad designs. Now, for the width, we want 4.8, and for the height, whoops, don't forget to put the inches. 4.8 inches, like me, I forgot to put the inches. And let me see what the other one was. What was the width? I forgot. 2.2, okay. New document, 4.8 inches by 2.2 inches. and they have a bleed of an eighth of an inch. Now the neat thing with InDesign, you can type in the fraction, 1/8 of an inch, and it will include it. Yeah, it says 2.375. So here's, okay, you know what? I'm not going to confuse you. We'll just stick with it. 4.8125. Yeah, I was going to go over something, but I think it would just confuse you guys. So we're going to just stick with this. And then 2.375. Thank you, Simon. Inches. Don't forget to type in the value so it gives you the correct ad. Now, in this case, I don't want landscape. I want portrait. And no bleed. In this case, we'll zero out the bleed. Normally would have a bleed for an ad, but we're not going to do that this time. Deselect facing pages, and I think we're good to go. Hang on. There we go. Okay. All right, so your ad should look something like this. This is what we're going to recreate. Right here, can you guys see that? Let me place it. Newsletter ads. There you are. We'll do this first one, okay? Are you guys, did you create your new document? Are you guys ready to go? If not, I'll just breeze through it, but I want to make sure you guys are with me. So we're going to structure this the same way that we did the smoothie catalog. We're going to create our first layer, so make sure your layers dialog box is up. Layer 1 is going to have this layer on it. I'm going to make sure it's placed correctly. Make sure there's an even amount. There we go. Even amount of space on all sides. Okay, then I'm going to create a second layer. So my layer 1 is my example. I'm going to lock the layer. Before I do that, though, I want to give it an opacity. Here we go. All right, so now on layer 2, this is where I can begin to design. It has a black background. I'm going to go to my fill. Actually, I'm going to go to swatches. So I'm going to go window, color, swatches. Click on black. Okay. Now the whole thing is black, but so I can see what's behind it, I'm going to just adjust the opacity so I can still see the layer behind it. Next, I need to draw some stars. If you'll notice, there are no stars available to me under my rectangle tool. So what we're going to need to do is create the stars. If you select your polygon tool, click once on your artboard, it brings up your polygon dialog box. Okay, does everyone see this? Yes, okay. Do you have it on your computer? Are you able to, are you with me? Okay, Kay says yes. Okay, this is crucial. What you're going to do is only mess with the polygon settings below. You want number of sides. So how many sides does a star have? 5 sides, right? 5, right. Good job, Kay. Star inset. This you're going to have to kind of mess with to see. The inset means how deep does the star go, because you can do starburst. You can do a lot of really cool things with this. I'm going to do 10% just to see what it looks like. Okay, so obviously I need more inset on my star. Let's do 25. Hit okay. Even more, it looks like. Do 40. Maybe even more. Do 50. There we go. 50 looks right. Okay. I'll delete these others. So I did about 50% inset. Again, I'm going to want to hold down Shift and Control, or Shift and Command, or I'm sorry, Shift, yeah, Shift and Control. Shift and Command will let me shrink these down. So I've designed one. Now you could go and just create 8 different stars, or we can just format one and copy it. So I'm going to line this one up. I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. Just going to line it up to roughly about the same size. Hold down Shift and Command to keep it proportionate. Looks about right. And now, okay, now what I'm going to do is fill it. It's a white star on a black background. So I'm going to go make sure all of my values are 0. Hit OK. Now it filled the star. There we go. Now, if I wanted to, I could do that 8 times because there's 8 stars, or I can simply hold down Alt or Option, click and drag your mouse. That will copy whatever it was. If you make sure your smart guides are on, it will line it all up for you. See those green lines? They're snapping them into place. Okay. I'll highlight those 4, or remember, hold down Shift. I'm going to select these 4. Zoom out. With the 4 selected, I'm going to hold down Alt Option, click and drag. And that helps me duplicate those items. So I don't have to draw them 8 times. This allows me to save time and just simply copy them. All right. The rest is simply placing your text and trying to match it up. It looks like it's Arial. Let's try this rounded rectangular box. This looks like something that might give you some trouble. You go to Rectangle Tool and click and drag. You'll notice my rectangle tool does not have rounded corners. So what you're going to need to do is go to Object, Corner Options. This will give me different options for giving me designs on my corners. Now, what's neat about this is you'll see this link, this chain link. If it's if it's a broken link, that means that it will not be even on all sides. It won't apply the settings to all sides. If it's clicked, it means you only have to change one and it will apply it to all. In this case, we need it to apply to all, so I'll keep it intact. I'll consult my drop-down menu here, and I want to click Rounded. By doing that, that allows me to round out my corners. Now, how much roundness do I need? You click on your preview, it will show you the roundness. Now I can adjust the value. You can see how much, eventually you'll get a circle, but we don't want that. So one pica is about all you need. You can eyeball it, but by clicking preview, it allows you to see what the change is before you accept it. Looks good to me. I'm just going to adjust the size here. All right, how are we doing? Are there questions? Do you want to catch up? Do you need me to back up? Where are we at, guys? Okay, so you're gonna watch me on replay. All right. You mean you have to watch this all over again? I'm sorry. All right, hopefully this is clear. If you have questions, come tomorrow and I'll be happy to go over it again. So we've got the rounded rectangle. Now we're gonna adjust our stroke size just like we did on the Smoothie catalog. We're gonna go, first what we need to do is give it a color, because right now when it has the red slash through it, it means it doesn't have a color selected, it's transparent. we want to bring the border square at the bottom of your toolbar to the forefront. Double click it. We need to give it a white border, hit OK. And now we can adjust the stroke size. Oh, whoops, I'm adjusting the wrong thing. Here we go. So I believe it's about 2 points. No, you're fine, Kay. I was just giving you a hard time. I'm glad you'll be watching over. In fact, I encourage you guys to watch this as much as possible so that if you do have questions, sometimes it helps to pause me, rewind me, and because I do know I go fast trying to cover so much material. We're probably going to end here at about, I don't know, what are we doing on time? Let's see. 10 more minutes, I think, of class time. Is there anything that you want to know how to do? There's one thing that you might, a snag you might run into, and you won't realize this until later, is if you notice the fonts, they're all, I believe they're the same font, but they're either bolded, narrow, or they're kind of squished. Sometimes the font is really fat and wide. We need to be able to match the font. So I'll do this online only here. This was really squished font. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to give it an Arial font. Now there's different versions of Arial, so I'm going to go Arial Narrow Bold, and I will increase the font to about 13. Yeah, that's okay. If you guys have questions, I want you to come. In fact, I encourage you to come even if you don't have questions. Allow me to look at your stuff. Okay, so here's an example. So I've picked a narrow font, Arial Narrow. I'm at 13, which is about the same size, but it still looks a little off. We're going to want to give it a white font. Make sure this is white. So what can we do? Well, if you hold down, let's see. It's all muscle memory. Okay, hold down Control or Command and click and drag. This will allow you to kind of squish the font. And then then if you enlarge it, it should give you the desired effect that you're looking for. Something like that. Whoops, what happened? Back up. So I'm going to give it about 15 is the font. Looks about right. So just try to eyeball it as best you can. You will need to maybe squish the font or expand the font a little bit. Yeah, it disappeared. I was trying to figure out what I did. I think I just increased the font on accident. So now if that happens, here's another thing. If this happens, if you're messing with the size of the font and all of a sudden it disappears, if you see this plus sign, that means that there's still text or an object or something's in that box, that frame, that's not visible. It just either needs to be expanded. Oops. If you click any of the anchor points on these boxes, you can expand the box until it shows up. It just means that there's still text that's not being displayed. So you kind of need to go opening up the box, make the frame bigger as best you can until you can see all the contents. Now, when that plus sign disappears, that means that you're seeing everything that's in there. There's nothing left or there's nothing being hidden. All right, again, I think the font's about 15. Okay, so try your best to match up the fonts. I showed you how to do the shapes. I think that will probably be the one thing that will give you trouble. let's see, we need the rectangle for the text or for the banner. And this was a red banner. So I'm going to go to my window, color, swatches, click on red, hit OK. Now notice when I did that, it made my border red. If you see this border on my bottom of my toolbar, I'm going to bring my toolbar over here so you can see. If you see the border in the forefront, that means it's only going to display, or you're only going to be able to change the border. So what I want to do is bring the fill to the forefront. If I click this curved arrow, it will swap the colors. Kind of cool, huh? Swap the colors. So again, this will help you. Now, let's go back to the smoothie page. What do we do when we're all done with it? All right, we still need to package it. I want to point out that if you only include your InDesign file, I will not grade it. You'll get a 0 for the assignment. That's part of the grading rubric, and it's not me that set that as it was the admin, I guess the admin who created the content for the course. That is a policy that they're going by. So you have to include the PDF with the original file. I do need to see the file because I need to go in and check and make sure you know how to accurately enter in a CMYK value and that the colors are all correct and that it's your work. Because it'd be too easy to submit a JPEG of the example given. So I do need to see the InDesign file and make sure everything has been placed correctly. But in addition to that, you need to create a PDF. Does everyone know how to create a PDF in InDesign? No, okay, sky's the limit. As many layers as you want. In fact, I encourage you to get used to the layers. It's really, I didn't learn layers until late in my career, as most of my stuff was self-taught, and I really wish I had practiced it more early on. So please, I encourage layers. I really want you guys to use them. This will make your life a lot easier, I think. Okay, so here's how we create a PDF. You go to File, Export, and you want to make sure that your format here says PDF print. Okay, here at the bottom, does everyone see that? It should be a default, but if it's not, make sure that it says PDF print. Then you give it a name, and it's a specific name. I think it's assignment 1 underscore first last name underscore or I forget what. Just look on the assignment. It will tell you what to name it, and then once you've given it a name, hit save, and it will automatically create a PDF for you. Just make sure you know where it saves to, whether it's your desktop or a folder that it goes in. Thank you, Simon. Simon has officially figured out that this sample image was stretched. So don't go crazy. I will be very forgiving when it comes to if letters aren't quite lined up. What I'm concerned with is the size. Is the size accurate? Is the color accurate? And is the font correct? So those will be the 3 things that I'm looking for. I am nitpicky, but I'm not going to, obviously if it's not you're doing, I'm not going to dock you points or something like that. Roughly the same size. If you look at my example, it's close enough, right? I just want to make sure everything is correct in terms of the correct font usage, everything's lined up, good size, etc. Okay, so what's a zip file? That's a good question, Sonia. Okay, so that's the next thing. So now you've created your PDF, you have saved, make sure to save your work, save your InDesign file. Now to create a zipped file, what you're going to do is, let me stop the share here. I'm going to clean up my desktop real quick. Once you've saved it, in fact, go ahead and save your InDesign file, put it in a folder, and I'll show you what you're going to do with it. My desktop is so messy, it's embarrassing. It's like having a messy house when a guest comes over. It's like I got to clean up first before you yeah, it sounds like my house. This is my house every day. Let me clean it all up. All right. Screen share desktop. Good enough. Okay. So here's my folder, my awesome folder. This will be your assignment folder. Assignment 1 folder, or whatever you name it as. Does everyone see my folder here on the mountains? Yes, okay. Simon, I'll get to your question in just a moment. So with this folder, this is where you will have placed your PDF that you created and your original InDesign file, okay? This file, you should have, and now this is separate from your assessment, okay? This should only have the Smoothie contents. In this file, you should have your all your pictures. So the Smoothie pictures that you downloaded need to be in this file. This is very important, and I probably should have said this at the beginning. You need to have all the pictures that you're including in your InDesign file in your zipped folder. Here's why. You can see it on your computer because the photos have been downloaded to your computer. If I don't have the photos on my computer, whether it's a printer you're sending a zip folder to or an instructor, if you don't have those photos, then I won't be able to see them. So it's important to get in the habit of including the elements that you've used. So put the 3 photos in there just for kicks and giggles, and then your PDF and your original InDesign file. Once you have everything in a folder, you're going to right-click on it, go to Compress. And somewhere on my messy desktop, there will be a zip folder. Do you see this? So it's really easy to create a zip folder or zip file. And what this is it's just a compressed version. So this allows you to send large files or upload large files to someone without it taking a lot of, I don't know, what's the term, bandwidth or time to download. So when I click on your zip folder, it's going to open your folder. There it is. Okay. Is that pretty clear? Clear as mud? Are we comfortable with that? So really the hardest part is is actually doing the assignment. The zip file and everything, that's easy. Just make sure you've got everything in that folder that you need. So we need the PDF, the 3 images, and your original InDesign file. You will get docked points if you just upload a PDF or if you just upload an InDesign file, or if you upload a PDF and an InDesign file. I need the actual zipped folder, okay? Everything is in a really nice packaged present for me to open, okay? So we'll stop the share there. Okay, I think I covered everything that you might need to know. You're so welcome. I'm going to go back to Simon's question. He says, so I want perfect alignment and fonts, etc. Yeah, go on the grading rubric is posted under the assignment, and it will show you exactly what I'm going to look for. So you'll be graded on what we've gone over in class and what is on that grading rubric. Hopefully this has helped you, giving you like a head start with the assignment. I wish class was longer or we had more live lecture time to go over things. On Tuesday, if enough people come, I can do a quick tutorial on the other ad if you want. But again, just come, ask me questions. I'd be happy to go over anything that you need. Sorry, we didn't have enough time to go over everything, but hopefully this gave you a jump start. Are there any questions before we end class? Good, I'm glad, Simon. Thank you for coming and for your help and us picking your brain with the PC knowledge. You all have been fantastic. Thank you for sharing your assignments and sharing with the class, people who are watching at home. This will greatly help them in all of your questions too, because don't think you're the only one that's going to run into problems that we ran into. This is helpful for people troubleshooting at home. Okay, awesome. Good night, everyone. We'll see you guys later.